Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Routledge History of Literature in English, part 48. So let's dive in the world of literature. The move from the high moral didacticism of mid-century of the exploration of moral issues and responsibilities can be seen particularly clearly in the novels of Thomas Hardy. Like so many of the major writers of the time, Hardy was something of an outsider. He came from the rural county of Dorset, which in his novels becomes Wessex, the fictional countryside with a long historical past which is markedly distant from the capital city, London, or the industrial north. In this scene, from Hardy's Tess of the D'Urbervilles in 1891, Tess delivers milk on a cart to the local station as the milk train arrives. Tess is one in a line of such heroines in Hardy's novels, including Bathsheba Everdeen in Far from the Madding Crowd in 1874 and Grace Melbury in The Woodlanders in 1887, whose natures make them outsiders in their own society, as they fall victim to forces and changes, economic, social, and sexual, which are outside their control. He also wrote the novel Jude the Obscure in 1895. Hardy's vision has been called tragic, and the fate of many of his characters is indeed bleak. Henchard, in The Mayor of Casterbridge in 1886, rises to power, then brings about his own fall in a manner that recalls the classical forms of tragic drama, but his intention is also social. Tess, a pure woman, as the subtitle of the novel calls her, is the victim of a hypocritical sexual morality. She finally kills Alec, the man who caused her disgrace, but then society punishes her for that crime too. This is a savage attack on the restrictions of late Victorian society. The book caused a terrible scandal, as had Tess of the D'Urbervilles for 4 years earlier. It was burned, banned, and denounced. Hardy became so discouraged by this reaction that he stopped writing novels, publishing only a novel on the theme of time, The Well Beloved, in 1897. It had been serialized in 1892 before dedicating himself entirely to poetry. Many of the novelists of the end of the Victorian age can be considered outsiders for one reason or another. Hardy was from the West Country, Gissing from the industrial North. Wilde was an outsider twice over, as an Irishman and a homosexual. This preponderance of outsiders becomes even more noticeable between the 1890s and 1914. Henry James was born in America, Joseph Conrad in the Ukraine to a Polish family, Rudyard Kipling in India, where much of his work is set, and George Bernard Shaw was another Irishman. As we move into the 20th century, literature's horizons and influences expand in a broader vision. E.M. Forster, although of the southern English middle class, was homosexual, and his work reflects an outsider's concern with Englishness. D.H. Lawrence was from the working class and spent much of his life in exile from England. T.S. Eliot was born in America. James Joyce was Irish. Ford Madox Ford was of German extraction. An American by birth, Henry James also stands outside Britain, although his education was divided between America and Europe. His early novels, such as The Americans in 1877, Daisy Miller in 1879, and The Portrait of a Lady in 1881, explore differences between Europe and American high society. The main point of view is that of an innocent character who undergoes conflicts between innocence and experience. The novels are written in the manner of a Bildungsroman, a growing up novel, and in them he reveals considerable depths in understanding female psychology. Then he also wrote the work What Macy Knew in 1897. The narrative is recounted almost completely from the point of view of a child's consciousness and understanding. Then he also wrote novels such as The Wings of the Dove in 1902 and The Ambassadors in 1903. James's style is even more subtle in order to render complexities of thought and feeling in the stream of consciousness of the main characters who are each in different ways outsiders in their society. James was always deeply concerned with art and how art both shapes and reflects life. From the short story The Figure in the Carpet in 1895, which shows a concern with the mysteries and intricacies of a design, to his fine novel The Golden Bowl in 1904, art, artifice, and their role in human life are probed and evaluated. It is perhaps no accident that the term stream of consciousness was a concept first described in 1890 by the American psychologist William James, who was brother of the novelist Henry James. In the 20th century, as concepts of society changed and things, as the poet W.B. Yeats said, began to fall apart, the fragmentation of all that held society together was expressed in the novel partly by the use of stream of consciousness. Although these emphases were new and do depart from conventional representation in the 19th century novel, John Meade Falkner was an industrialist, but he wrote three remarkable novels, each of which is unique in its way. Moonfleet in 1898 is a classic adventure yarn of smugglers set on the south coast of England. The Nibley Court in 1903 has echoes of Hardy in its setting and its vivid picture of the ending of a society. The Lost Stradivarius in 1895 is a mysterious tale of drugs and decadence set in Naples. Adventure novels came to enjoy enormous popularity. They reached a high point towards the end of the 19th century in the jingoistic colonial tales of H. Rider Haggard. He wrote works such as King Solomon's Mines in 1886 and She in 1887, and the Ruritanian fantasies of Anthony Hope in his work The Prisoner of Zenda in 1894. Rudyard Kipling, although awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907, is seen more as a Victorian figure than a modern writer. His novels, such as Plain Tales from the Hills in 1888 and Kim in 1901, are usually read as children's stories. His work, The Jungle Book in 1894, is a vital text in establishing a colonial ethos. This relates to the efforts of General Sir Robert Baden-Powell, a British hero of the Boer War from 1899 to 1902, who founded the Boy Scout movement and used Kipling's text to establish a basis of discipline for the wolf clubs. More recently, The Jungle Book has become well known as an animated feature film in 1967 from Disney Studios. If you have any doubts or query, you can ask me in the comment section below, or you can even message me in the social media IDs that are given below in the description box. And do share the video to all those who wants to be the part of this literary journey. So that's all for today's video. Thank you and signing out.